Good afternoon, everybody. I just want to start off by thanking you for joining our webinar, 3 Ways to Unlock the Value of CafeOne and JD Edwards. I want to introduce myself. My name is Brian Surface, and I'll be your host today. We have a great agenda planned for you as we talk about the value of CafeOne. We're going to show you 3 simple ways to leverage CafeOne within EnterpriseOne, highlighted by showing you how seamlessly it can integrate to Canon's AP Automation solution. Canon Information and Imaging Solution brings together Canon's best-in-class imaging technology and information management expertise to deliver value-added solutions such as accounts payable and order-to-cash automation. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Brian Surface. I'm Director of ERP Technologies here at Terillium. I've spent about 16 years around the technologies within and around JD Edwards and EnterpriseOne. I'm also very happy to be joined by Brian Rose. He's a Senior Manufacturing Consultant and UX1 Specialist at Terillium. Brian's been involved in numerous successful JDE implementations and upgrades across a wide range of industries. Additionally, he's product certified in all JD Edwards manufacturing applications. I'm also happy to be joined by Peter Lopes from Canon Information and Imaging Solutions. Peter is an accredited accounts payable solutions consultant, as well as responsible for the sales in the Eastern Territory of US and Canada. I just want to remind everybody that you can participate in today's webinar. If you go to your control panel in the questions box, simply type in the question you have and hit submit. And our webinar staff will be monitoring these questions, and we will be more than happy to answer them during the Q&A session after the presentation. So before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit more about Terillium. We've won 13 Oracle Excellence Awards in the 11 years of being an Oracle partner. The awards include Partner of the Year, Mid-Size Partner of the Year, the Titan Award, Best Customer Success Stories, and various Customer Focus Awards. Terillium is based in Cincinnati, Ohio. We have a workforce of roughly 160 plus consultants across the U.S. with an average of 16 plus years experience. We've served more than 500 Oracle customers over that time. And Terillium can handle just about any project involving JD Edwards. We do implementations, upgrades, managed services, specialized projects. We can also do software licensing, cloud integrations, hosting, and custom development. So after the webinar, feel free to reach out to myself or Brian Rose for any of your JD Edwards needs. So with that said, now let's get started. As you may know, Oracle has released more than 180 plus new features and functionality since the release of EnterpriseOne 9.2. The current plan is to continue these smaller releases, not only to add value to the customer base, but also to hopefully simplify the upgrade process. You can also go to Learn JD Edwards or learnjde.com. It's a great resource if you want to find out more information about what you're seeing today or any of the new features, or if you just want to compare what features are available for your release. There's been a lot of recent excitement around the release of UX1 features along with the 50 user-based roles. As you'll see today, CafeOne is a big part of UX1, allowing your users to customize the graphical interface and take advantage of the Alert, Analyze, Act initiative JD Edwards has been driving towards in the recent years. Some of the key things to point out are UX1 delivers new capabilities out of the box. It also follows the Alert, Analyze, Act user experience paradigm. As you may know, it allows the citizens developers such as yourself to create highly intuitive UI using low-code or no-code tools. It also provides transparency and the capability to search across your EnterpriseOne system. So specifically speaking about the features and value of CafeOne, it allows you to combine multiple forms, which maximizes efficiency to bring common forms together. You can also embed external websites such as Google Maps. Why leave JD Edwards to go to Google Maps when you could bring Google Maps to JD Edwards? Finally, it allows you to integrate web-based solutions like Canon's AP Automation solution software using parameterized URLs. The value of CafeOne truly speaks to itself. It allows you to bring multiple forms that your users together, that your users use every day. So it's increased visibility of information. It also reduces the need for modifications. So why add fields to forms or grids when you can simply combine them using CafeOne? Not only does it allow you to bring this information together, but it also helps you down the road when you're ready to upgrade. It allows you to combine functionality of software solutions. So why do things in two places when you can accomplish it in one? It's also easy to use with using no code or low code type functionality. With all that said, we're going to show you 3 of the virtually infinite number of use cases for CafeOne. First off, we'll show you how to integrate form to form using an example of MRP detail messages in supply and demand. Second, we're going to leverage the address book in Google Maps. And finally, we're going to show you the seamless integration between JD Edwards and Canon's AP Automation solution. With that said, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Brian Rose.
Thank you, Brian. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get logged into JD and give you some understanding of what type of value this new CafeOne function can give to you as an end user or a business. Go ahead and log in. From here, the first screen that you see popping up is going with the trend Brian was talking about with the Alert, Analyze, Act. So this is a visual understanding of what are some of my actionable type of messages, maybe back orders or POs I need to cut, some graphical representations of those, and then also on the right side, some Act. The Act is allowing you to get directly into an application that is maybe a heavy hitter that you use on a day-to-day purpose. So the first example we're going to go into today for CafeOne is tying MRP messages and supply and demand. So the first thing that I always tell users when trying to create CafeOne is create some type of storyboard. So understand before going into the setup, what am I trying to accomplish here? I have maybe some type of bottleneck that I want to accomplish by tying 2 applications together. First key is defining what you want to attach. So we're going to do MRP messages and supply and demand. From there, first thing we want to do is go and look up, okay, I'm going to attach my supply and demand. This is where I define, okay, what is my application? What's my form? What are my versions? So since you can have multiple versions and multiple forms, you click into supply and demand. And if we click this help button and then about, it'll lay out some of this information for you. So I want to attach P4021, this version, and this form. So these are just some of the housekeeping type of actions you want to go into before you start the process of creating the application view. So once I have all that information kind of buttoned up and laid out on my page, we're going to go and start actually creating this CafeOne page. I click directly into my MRP details. You'll see on the right side of my screen pops my supply and demand. This is a very valuable tool for planners and schedulers. So to kind of give you an example of what this looked like before CafeOne, if I hide this and I click find, and maybe I wanted to look at my supply and demand messages as I walk down my list. Before, you'd have to go row exit, supply and demand. Okay, let's take a look. Everything looks good. Exit out. If I want to do another one, same type of thing, right? Supply and demand, exit out. Not a very free-flowing function. You have to kind of go back and forth between the applications. Maybe you forget when you get into supply and demand what's going on. With having this CafeOne function built in, I can have this showing on the right side of my screen. And as I click through the list, it dynamically changes. So you'll see, for example, right now I'm on item number 210, showing me my supply and demand information there. If I were to click into maybe a different item, let's say 230, it dynamically changes the right side of my screen to say, okay, now we're looking at item number 230. So instead of me having a row exit and go to a whole different view, I can see this now in one screen. And as I move down the list, I can get all the information I need to make an informed decision of should I process this message or not. So right there, it gives you just an understanding of how much time you can save by setting up this one function. Like Brian was saying before, this is a low-code type of change. So this is something that an end user could do. It's not something you have to go to the IT desk and say, hey, I need you to help me out. I want to tie these screens together. Previously, years before, that was the way we had to approach this. But now, as an end user, I'm able to go and decide what do I want to see based on my day-to-day functions. So why don't we go ahead and create one of these to give you an understanding of how easy it truly is. Click up here and go to Edit Form Layout. Okay. So we're going to start with the create, and it gives me kind of a blank screen. So at this point, it's a clean slate saying, hey, what do you want to attach to my message detail screen? Click the plus button. It gives me some of my options. So we can either attach an enterprise form, a URL, and if you have OBIE, you're actually able to attach those as well. For this example right now, we're going to use an enterprise form, drag it to the spot I want it to be in. Once I have it in the spot I like it, let go. This is the reason why I said previously, go and get the application associated to what you want to connect beforehand, because this is where it'll ask you some of that information. So since I've done that due diligence, I'll put in my application for supply and demand, which is P4021, pick the correct form and select my correct version. From here, you can name it whatever you want, give it some type of description. There are situations to where maybe there's a header function you don't want to see. You are able to maximize your grid, so you just see grid data when you pop into that screen. The bottom two functions are where the product really gets very neat, so we can dynamically feed data from one screen to another. So instead of me having to do it twice, it'll say data from your first screen, let's pass it on over to the second screen so we can evaluate the data quicker. So we're going to pick a dynamic link. It'll pop up some of the options you have to associate between the two pages. So in my example right now, I want to pass my business unit and I want to pass my item number. So to do that, I select, I want to do my business unit. Instead of doing remain as, I'm going to say is mapped to. Once I click is mapped to, it brings up all my little pluses on the left side of my screen. So low code type of functions that allow me to do this as an end user. So we're going to go ahead and pass branch, and then I also want to pass my item number. So I'm going to do is map to and select my item number. In the span of 30 seconds, I was able to attach these two applications together. I go ahead and click save. There it is. Give it a name. Say Brian's Supply. Ooh. Brian's Supply Command. Click OK. Now, once I exit out, right, there you go. Less than 1 minute, I was able to tie two screens to one another, and the values on the right side interactively change based on the values I passed across. One valuable tool that you can add to these CafeOne pages is the ability to define different apps showing up based on the data pulled into the grid. So an example there, if I am trying to map different applications, whether I'm a buyer or a planner, I can say when message type OP shows up in my supply and demand, show these buttons, meaning show these applications. When the message type WO comes up, show these different applications. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and click edit and go back into my supply and demand. You can define right here, when do I want to see this content frame, meaning what data needs to be populated in my original screen to say, show me this application. So if I clicked always, that means it's always going to show up. If I click sometimes, it says, okay, define what conditional data you want to use. So I'll say, okay, let's go ahead and say, OP, click add, and now it shows my OP in here. So this one screen will only pop up when the OP data type comes into my order. Click save. If I exit out, click save. So kind of give you a visual, if I change this to WO, that screen goes away. But if I go ahead and re-inquiry down on OP, it pops back up. So interactively, you can define what screens you want to pop up. So an example, if I were a scheduler, I may want to see my capacities. I may want to see item availability. You can say for this data point, pull this in, and for a different data point, pull something else in. So very interactive tool. You can have as many of these applications up on the right side as you'd like, and you can also have as many layouts as you like. So you can see I have 3 different layouts here. If I click this one, it's a little bit different, right? It's pulling up my time series, whereas if I go and jump to my supply and demand, it pulls up my supply and demand. So you can have a subset of these pages laid out in a format for you to get through the data much quicker. Now that's how we create a application to application connection. The next example I'm going to show you is how we would tie a JD Edwards application to a Google Maps. So we're going to go ahead and jump all the way out. Go to my favorites, go address book. All right, so right now I'm in my address book and I have Google Maps sitting on the right side. I also have Who's Who. Now, if I wanted to see both information, I can go ahead and click Who's Who and it would bring up both, or I can hide one of the two. Now, let me go ahead and filter down based on a specific facility. I click Kingston and you'll see it automatically populates where that product is or where that facility is on the map. You can get directions to it. You can do whatever you want. If you wanted to get out of JD Edwards and go directly into Google Maps, you could click this pop-out content, and it would bring you into a whole new screen into actual Google. So you can kind of pick and choose how you use the full range of Google or the connection between that and JDE. Some examples where I can see this being very valuable, or possibly if you are a company that sells products that need to be serviced very often. So, if I'm a trucking company, you could have some type of tracking system on your trucks to make sure that you know where they are when they go down. So if the truck goes down, the person just calls and says, hey, I'm down. And the system will automatically know where they are as long as you're updating that based on a device. So having that information in the one screen is something that is very beneficial. So those are kind of the two examples within JDE. Now we're going to go ahead and pass it along to give an example of how CafeOne and Canon can be leveraged.
Thank you, Brian. We'll now pass it over to Peter Lopes from Canon.
Hello, everyone. My name is Peter Lopes. I'm with Canon Information and Imaging Solutions. Hopefully, everyone can see my screen. All right.
Yes.
I'm going to talk to you this afternoon about our seamless AP automation with CafeOne. What Canon has done is we have taken the CafeOne technology and embedded that into our solution so that we can provide additional value to our customers utilizing that tool set from JD Edwards and encompassing our AP automation solution, which is a end-to-end total solution for automating your accounts payable process. Doing that, we've leveraged some features from JD Edwards that are important as part of the solution. First of all, we automate the data extraction from accounts payable invoices that come in via various means, as you'll see in just a moment. And from that information the data that we extract from the invoices, we create vouchers within JD Edwards automatically. No one has to manually type in that information. We have agile approval workflows, which are part of our workflow engine, and for incoming invoices, we can integrate them directly into JD Edwards and utilize the JD Edwards workflow technology if you're utilizing that, or our workflow capabilities should you prefer to do that, or a combination of the two. CafeOne is used to view the invoice image or related content and enables collaboration company-wide on all of the images and documents that we attach to your JD Edwards screens. Also, what you'll see is that our solution has received Oracle validated integration. And what that means is that Oracle has tested our solution, verified that it does work, and also that it does not change JD Edwards EnterpriseOne at all. Let's talk about an AP automations overview for just a moment here. There's really three major components to AP automation. You receive, you scan, and extract. That's your first step. You manage and follow up for the second step, and you process the payments as the third step. So let's begin at the start. You'll see that invoices can be received in a number of different ways. Typically, invoices are being received by an organization either by U.S. mail, so they have a hard copy, or by email. Many companies are moving towards email nowadays because it's more efficient. And typically, what you'll find with a solution like Canon's is nobody ever has to touch that emailed invoice. Also, as you see here, there's a fax is possible. Not many companies receive invoices by fax any longer, but if they did, we could actually take those, intercept those invoices right from the fax server so that they never have to be printed out. So we now have an invoice that's electronic in value. If it was a paper invoice, it was scanned into the system, and if it was email invoice, it was automatically received by the system, who monitors the email box and extracts the invoice automatically once an email comes in with an invoice attached. We import that invoice and we extract the data with our OCR technology. It's what you see at the bottom here. Now, you'll also notice in that blue box that it says Enterprise Imaging Platform. The Canon solution is called the Enterprise Imaging Platform. That's the platform that it resides on, and that also includes our optical character recognition, or OCR technology as well, which is doing the extraction of data from the invoice. So the OCR technology is now extracting that data from the invoice, and it's going to verify that information on that invoice against the PO in JD Edwards, assuming that it's a PO-based invoice. If everything matches up properly, it would then go directly into JDE and generate the voucher. Typically, companies who have PO-generated invoices don't go through an approval workflow because they've already done that at the creation of the purchase order itself. However, if your organization desires to have a one step after the verification, we can have that as well. So you have a choice as far as how you want that invoice to go into JD Edwards. If it's a non-PO based invoice, then typically you have workflows that needs to go through in which people will approve that invoice, review it, as well as enter the GL account code. So that could have multiple different workflows. So you might have a workflow for a non-PO generated invoice that could be based upon product, could be based upon business units, or any other number of factors that you want to have that workflow based upon. And it will automatically, the system will automatically deduce which one it is and set it on its way for approval and GL assignment, GL code assignment, excuse me. So you'll see that sometimes that goes to the product requester, and that goes up into the individual. It can be multiple individuals in the workflow. It can be based on dollar value. It could be based upon product, business unit, as I mentioned, and then it goes on through its way. If the invoice is now approved and verified and account coded, we then create the JDE voucher automatically. So no one is typing that information into the solution. We automatically put it into JD Edwards. As you'll see in a minute, I'll show you a copy of the JD Edwards voucher screen. And we also attach a link to that screen to that voucher, which is residing in our content repository. So part of the solution provides a complete content repository, or ECM solution, if you will, to manage all your documents, not only invoices, and we'll talk about that in just a minute in a little more detail. This is the overview of the process itself. Once the voucher is created, you will continue, accounts payable would then continue with its normal pay process. Let's look about the approval process across multiple devices. The solution, if you look on your left, is on the desktop, is provided. What you're looking at is a screenshot of the information that has been extracted directly from the invoice. That information is available by looking into the solution itself, as you see here in the desktop version, but it also can be accessed through a mobile device, such as an iPad or an iPhone or any other smart device, and you'll be able to utilize the solution from any of those devices. Because what we find out nowadays is that many executives are traveling a great deal and don't want to have to wait until they come back to the office in order to review and approve a specific invoice. So what they have is the ability to do that while they're on the go. And this makes it much more efficient and does not allow for any bottlenecks, because the ability for an executive to approve with one step and one click of the button makes it much easier for them to go ahead and do the function even when they're traveling. You'll also see over on the right-hand side here is the audit trail. What we provide with the solution is a complete audit trail from start to finish. So starting with the receipt of the invoice itself into the system and going all the way through to the creation of the voucher. It tracks everything that happens to that invoice, its date and time stamp, and we also assign the individual who worked on it and everything that they did to it. So you have a complete audit trail that goes and follows that invoice. It is also available from within JD Edwards when you look at the voucher and the invoice within JD Edwards, as you'll see in a minute. Here's a screen that shows the voucher. This is the voucher screen within JD Edwards. I'm sure you recognize that. So what we basically do is we provide a split screen. So JD Edwards is on the left, and the Canon solution is on the right. What you're seeing here is the voucher screen for a specific voucher. And on the right-hand side, you're seeing not only an invoice, but other associated documents to that invoice. So it might be a packing list, a bill of lading, a receiver, whatever documents you might have that are associated with that invoice can be associated with it right here within JD Edwards. So that with one click of the button, you can see all of the documents related to that voucher. And so think of that as from an auditor standpoint. When an auditor comes in and they want to see the complete history of a specific voucher or invoice, they can see it all right here. Click on that Click on any one of these links, and it'll open up that document. They can also print from here, so they can print that document as well. So you have a full history of all that's taken place and related to this specific voucher within JD Edwards. And going on to the next screen, you'll see that from here, you may also do some other things. You can collaborate across your organization. You can add comments to the specific document. You can generate tasks and ask someone to review it, to do a specific task before you even approve it. You can share the information via email, so I can send this document to anyone via email. I can download it, I can check it out. We have version control as well within our content repository. And we can detach the invoices from this screen if that's something that we so desire to do. Another capability here is the fact that if you do not want to see a split screen, you can minimize the screen and see the entire screen as JD Edwards voucher screen. And then when you want to see the documents, you can open it up with just another click of the button. So you have an option here on how do you want to view this information and how you want it integrated with your JD Edwards voucher screen. But the solution goes beyond AP automation. So what we're looking at here is the capability with our solution to not only attach documents to the voucher screen in accounts payable, but we can attach documents to any transaction screen within JD Edwards based upon the CafeOne capabilities of the solution now. So for instance, if you had a large general ledger entry that you might want to have supporting documentation, you can go ahead and support that, put that documentation and attach it right directly to that general ledger transaction. You might have an employee master that you want to go ahead and attach the employee documents themselves. So just by going to the employee master, you can see all of the information for that specific employee. Same with the supplier master. You can do that for your suppliers. And you can do that with purchase orders as well. Any documents that accompany a purchase order, such as a contract or specification or what have you. So beyond AP automation, CafeOne has provided the capabilities for us to integrate throughout the solution and provide you with content management and document management capabilities throughout JDE from right within JD Edwards. One thing to remember here also is the fact that there is no software embedded within JD Edwards. It all sits out front, so that based upon that, you can always upgrade JD Edwards or you can upgrade Canon without affecting the other. I'd like to finish up by just talking about some of the benefits of AP automation. Really, the best AP automation solutions really not only support your current needs, but they also are looking out into your future requirements. And they are really now, when you look at the Canon solution, we're talking about being able to provide our customers with control of their financial organization. Not just to provide you with data, but control of what's going on in that organization. Beyond the efficiency gains and savings that may be widely known, the benefit of automation, there is an entirely new level of business intelligence that can be gained as a result of the information flow being visible, accessible, and reliable. Visibility into your invoices and payables, not only for the AP department, but also for other organizations within your company. So such as procurement and planning and customer services and sales and other corporate stakeholders who need that data that's been locked into AP all this time, but now is available based upon the automation, and timely and accurate decisions can now be facilitated. Enabled by the visibility is the real-time spend analysis. You know, you can look and you can help in sourcing what-if scenarios, supplier consolidation or diversifications, and improved contractual compliance, risk mitigation, and fraud detections. Fraud is an up-and-coming area that people are wanting to address. What happens also is based upon the information that's now available, companies that we are seeing customers now being able to take advantage of supplier discounts. And suppliers that are not offering those discounts, they're able to negotiate discounts. So we have customers that are receiving 1%, 2%, 4%, 5% discounts and more from their suppliers based upon an agreement to pay early. And this, when you talk about vendor discounts, you're talking about cash that goes directly to the bottom line of your organization. As a result, AP departments and AP functions can evolve as they no longer perceive as a cost center. They start to be more of a strategic role within your organization and bringing real value add to your company and other organizations within the company, so that, like I said, no more cost center, but more of a value add center and really a profit center within your organization. With that, I turn it over to Brian.
Thanks, Peter. Once again, that demonstration shows how CafeOne, combined with a product like Canon's AP Automation, it certainly provides visibility across your system, and it provides the ability to seamlessly integrate multiple systems. It's very impressive. I just want to remind everybody about Collaborate 18 in Las Vegas. It's April 22nd through 26th. Both Canon and Terillium will both have booths. The booth numbers are listed below. So if you'd like any more information about Canon's AP Automation solution or anything UX1 or JD Edwards related, please feel free to stop by. And with that said, we'll start some Q&A. Just a few questions that did come through while we were presenting. One note to make is CafeOne is available starting with release 9.1.5. So even the 9.1 people on 9.1 can leverage CafeOne. Also, CafeOne and the other UX1 features do require a level of security. So there is a chance that when you went to the, when Brian was going to the preferences tab, that you may not see the ability to do CafeOne there. And if that's the case, it could just be simple security is not turned on to allow you to do that. So there is some configuration, some security considerations that go along with using CafeOne along with the other UX1 features.
Great, thank you, Brian. This is Laurel from Terillium. We did have a couple of other questions come in, and if anyone else has any questions, please send them in now through the questions panel. And we will answer those. We have a couple minutes left to do that. But one of the other questions that came in, this is, I believe, for you, Peter, regarding Canon solution. What versions of JDE do you support?
Yes, we support version 9.1 as well as 9.2.
Okay, perfect. And another question that came in for you, is there an API available to store other docs in your portal?
Yes, the solution has the ability, when you talk about an API, with it built within the solution is the capability of you being able to upload documents either from a folder on the network or from your desktop, or you can have the system automatically recognize those that come in by email with an invoice and separate those out and store them in the content repository as well. So there are a number of different ways of doing that, and like I said, you can do that either manually or you can do that automatically.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, another question that just came in. Does CafeOne work with other EIP platforms such as DocuWare, etc.? That might be a question for you, Brian.
Yeah, I'm not for certain on those specific softwares, but generally CafeOne will work with any web-based software that can handle a parameterized URL.
Okay, great. All right. It doesn't look like we've had any other questions come in, but if you do have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to either Brian Surface, Brian Rose, or Peter, and we'll be happy to answer those questions after the webinar. There will be a recording of the webinar available, so we'll make sure to send that out to you guys in the next couple of days as well. So thank you again, Peter and Brian, and thank you for everyone for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laurel.
Thank you.